90% local music from today. This after consultation with several stakeholders in the industry. To find out about the significance of this groundbreaking decision, we are joined in studio by music legend Don Laka. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is quite a groundbreaking decision that was made by the SABC. Now, today was the first day of the 90% local. How do you think it went?
Well, let me explain first. I haven't had a sleep since we engaged with the COO, and when he, in our meeting where he announced this, I went in that meeting with my gloves on, and the COO probably laughed at me, and he says, because we've been engaging, obviously, and he started talking. He never gave me a single chance to utter a single word. And his words were, I know you've been fighting. I know I've read all about you. I've read all the document you gave me. I have decided with my team to give you and the people of South Africa 90%. And my heart nearly stopped. I said, wow, we looked for 60% on commercial and 80% on it. Now we get 90% across the board.
So what were you looking for? Were you looking for 60% on commercial and 90% were on regional?
On public.
On public,
yes,
okay.
And to top it up, that really made my heart nearly stop, actually, was when he said, tomorrow, meaning today. Yeah. I've never had such a thing. I mean, that's shown leadership at a different scale for me. And, he knew our plight, and he wanted to address it, and he said, it can be done. With radio, it's easy, and I'll give my guys a timeline to do it. This means less than 12 hours. Yeah. What you're hearing today was done in less than 12 hours.
Music compilers were
unbelievable what he has done. So I haven't slept. I celebrated, and I couldn't fall asleep last night, and I had to wake up for the interviews here, and so I've been busy, and here am I again.
You still look happy, but just to clarify how exactly this is going to work, because we understand that the 90% local is going to run for about 3 months, and then there's going to be, is it not? Yes, that's what we want to clarify. Because
I'd like to clarify that.
Yes.
It's not going to run for 3 months. It is 90% on radio across the board, and they will review whenever if they have to.
Okay.
But it's going on forever. There's no way it's going back.
That is
amazing.
Anything.
So, I mean, you can see the excitement in this country, where, everyone now, I have received by today several thousand messages which broke my inbox, and, I continue to receive thousands and thousands from all over the world, actually, to celebrate with us this Freedom Day, the completion of a freedom, I say.
That's exactly what it is. Now, last night when the announcement was made, or yesterday rather, there was a lot of mixed reaction. So for the most part, everybody was excited, especially our local musicians. They were very excited that finally we're going to hear our music on air. We're finally going to be rewarded for our hard work.
Absolutely.
Then you also had some skeptics who wonder, do we have enough music to actually play all the time? I mean, there are specific shows.
Yes.
For example, I'll use Metro FM's Sunday edition, which only plays R&B, for example, and a lot of people are saying, do we have enough local R&B to cover that spectrum? So what's your take on those sentiments?
You know what, for me, they don't really stand and they don't really hold water. Cultural imperialism is something else, and when people are indoctrinated, they will always defend the enslaver vigorously. And there's no need for us. I mean, we grew up with American music in this country. But, there comes a time when you have to realize who you really are. Who is the real person? Who is the real South African? What does R&B mean to me? Does it have really meaning? If it's done in a way that the boys are doing it in South Africa, then it starts to have a meaning for me.
It's like Afro soul.
Absolutely. It has to reflect what I do and the lifestyle and the life that we have. Though it's an American version, but it has to be adapted to what we have, and we've got sufficient music for that to cover that. And one of the things that we've been hearing is that talk about classics. Let me tell you, we've got over 5 million recorded music by South Africans.
That's a lot. I think that will cover a lot of shows. Yes. Now, let's look at the battle. I mean, you've won this one. It's a huge victory in terms of getting local music to be played on these platforms, 90% local music to be played on these platforms. What else do you want to see happening for our music industry?
You know what, I know I've been in the forefront. There have been people under the scene who working with me tirelessly, who actually kept me sane.
Yeah.
And
but you're the face of the battle.
I
for the most
started
part.
alone as a loner, and those people came and said, we're going to support you, and they became the pillar of strength for me. And we were ridiculed, but we focused on what we wanted to achieve. So I know some of them, maybe they might be sleeping with excitement. They've been celebrating since last night. But for me, the most important thing now and the journey forward is to go out and thank the people of South Africa, because if it's not of them, we will not really sustain this. But they have to love this and enjoy it being themselves. But we'll go out there and do road shows and promote what SABC has done. And the CEO, Claudi, has I might take the credit, but let me tell you, he has to take the credit also. We have to share this credit, me and him, because the decision that he made, obviously it might be unpopular to some people who, I don't know, who are not really South African, who feel the bread has been taken out of their mouth, but he has empowered South Africa for generations to come.
Yeah, and charity begins at home, so it makes a lot of sense. Yes. And that's where that's exactly what we should be doing. Now, you mentioned that you're going to have road shows.
Yes.
Beyond the support of the SABC, who else is supporting this initiative?
Well, SABC, is a public broadcaster, and I sneaked in to listen to what other people were doing, and because of the impact of the people talking about songs they haven't heard and how beautiful they sound, and these other stations, they started sneaking in some little, South African music, which is a very good thing, because SABC has to lead, and it has taken the lead.
So in terms of government support, what else do you need? What else do artists in South Africa need? I saw somebody on Twitter yesterday actually saying something about the credits on the songs and how that works, and when people are getting royalties, that's still very unclear and still messy.
Well, that's what we need.
Is that the next battle?
It is, yeah. Well, that one, I think we'll sit and sort it out. For me, the major battle was to get airplay. It starts, I've been seeing people singing praises to American artists, but the only thing that made those artists is because they get airplay and they get to be seen on TV. We will produce for the first time, and AKA, when I spoke to him, he never gave me a chance. When I speak, he just screamed and shouted on them, brother. And he said, for the first time, can I sell $1 million? I said, absolutely, you will be able to sell $1 million. Yeah, I saw he tweeted earlier saying that. And he says, assure me. I said, I assure you, with airplay like this, we will be able to sell 1 million records, and it will be a norm in this country, like Nigeria is doing. So, the ripple effects of this thing, it hasn't sunk into a lot of people, but once it starts sinking, give it a month or two, you'll see such a lot of change. South African musicians will be transformed. Already, with all the music playing, that like a cash machine, cling in the bank, ka-ching in the bank for all of us when each time when we hear that song.
Well, we're definitely happy for you. But something that I want to look at is the balancing of power now, just in terms of musicians that are thought of as very popular. So you mentioned the AKA, for example. Yes. AKA gets quite a lot of airplay on television, on radio as well. He's very popular. He's got a great following. The same with Casper, etc. What about the musicians that aren't as popular?
Well, 90%, let me tell you what it means. AKA cannot be playing the whole day.
Yeah.
And, it's 90% is a lot of time. It's the whole day.
And the mixtures of genres, how important is that? Because there are genres that are marginalized,
It was actually specifically stated on the statement that all the genres that were marginalized, jazz, gospel, reggae, and name them, and kwaito, will enjoy this equal status now on radio, which is what I've had today. And what I'm actually appealing to South African musicians, please go and register your music. submit your music to SABC again. Because some of them might have been put on the side at that time when foreign music was given a priority. I am urging all of them. I will be bringing about 45 CDs that I've produced, never played on radio, high quality stuff, mixed, mastered in this country.
45?
Some of them, yes, never had a chance to be played in this country. So I'll be submitting that. I'm urging all South Africans who think their music is not, they're not hearing it, to do likewise. Resubmit your music. This is the biggest chance for us.
That's actually what I call faith. I mean, you've got 45 albums ready to be released that you've just been working on and working on
different
and working
artists
on
that
and waiting and yes. waiting for this, yes. But now let's look at the digitization of the industry. Now you were saying now, you know, artists are going to be able to sell about 1 million records at this point yes. in time. Let's look at platforms like iTunes, for example. Yes. What's your feeling about those platforms? Are you still a hard copy type of guy? Is that what you still encourage?
My genre is a complete different genre where people want to have the physical copy. And some genres, you know, I've seen some of the, you know, hip hop artists who don't even sell a record, but they, you know, they have million, downloads, and yeah. you know, a physical copy for me, I want to see one rand as a one rand. You know, but when the download is something that the calculations are some strange way done, because it looks like 15 downloads equals to one CD or something. It's very tricky. Yeah. So that's why Prince was against it, or you know. But you know, the easier way to get your music across the world is to use those platforms. Well,
Prince was against it, but he's got shares at Tidal, so he would put his music on Tidal, which is also a download platform. Yeah. But anyway, that's another topic. Now, what else are you working on, just to wrap up? Nice.
Well, I've for the first time I'll be releasing. I've released 2 albums international, which haven't been released in South Africa, because I came to a point where I said it was not necessary to release in this country anymore because it won't be played. That's why I took up the fight, because last year I spent almost the whole year in the UK promoting this new album of mine, Afro Chopin, and it received great rave reviews overseas. I cannot release it home because no one will play it. Then I decided one has to do something. And that something has culminated into what we're celebrating today.
Well, congratulations on this big achievement. I know you say a lot of people were behind yes. you, working with you and making sure that this happens. Congratulations, and we're really excited about it.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks.
That